1. Caleo closed his eyes as the blue flash once again filled his vision. He pushed back his white hair, tucking it behind his ears so it was out of his eyes. It had been months since he had gotten a haircut, and now it hung down past the bridge of his nose. He shook his head, trying to fight back the tears as he thought of Jillian again. Taking a deep breath, he looked around at the graveyard, which was now littered with hundreds of frost-covered corpses, all frozen in action as if they were wax figures. One man a few feet away had his mouth open as if he was screaming a command to the others, but hadn't got the chance to finish it. He shook his head again, looking at the ground only to see more death. A frozen arm and leg lay detached from their owner less than a step away. He wondered what kind of monster he was becoming, that killing so many people came so easily to him now. He thought of what his grandmother would think of him, as he pictured himself in a frozen wasteland, all the people he had killed, frozen as statues around him. 3 elderly women Caleo had killed, when Steve had his memory erased, stood centered in front, their kind faces frozen as they sipped their coffee. Behind them, a little girl was playing with a ball in a park, followed by a man watering his lawn. He met all their frost-filled eyes and wanted to break down. He opened his eyes, glaring in distaste at the golden ring on the right shoulder of the frozen blessed soldier. At least this guy was trying to kill me, Caleo thought to himself. His inner voice trying to convince him the people he killed when Steve had stolen his memories wasn't his fault. It was Steve's. He had me convinced I was someone else, someone I'm not. It was something Caleo told himself every time he saw the faces of the hundreds of innocent people Steve had him kill, purely to convince the rebels he was on their side. How long do you think we have before the next group of blessed show up? Caleo asked, silently reminding himself that he was here to kill all of the blessed because of what they did to his family. Water bubbled up from the soil, quickly pooling on the ground beside Caleo's feet, before growing into the liquid outline of a giant man kneeling down. I hear a helicopter, but I don't think there will be any more ground forces, at least for a few more hours. Nolan's voice bubbled out from the figure. Caleo nodded. At least there's that. He could tell Nolan was getting tired. They had been at this for 2 days now, with very little sleep, and the only food they ate was the rations the dead blessed soldiers had carried in their packs. When do you think he will show? He asked, eyeing a dark shadow in the distance, as he wished Alex would just step out of it so they could end this. I don't, Nolan said somberly. He has the baby. He thinks all he needs to do is kill you to win, and he has a whole army to do that for him. He has no reason to risk his own life. Caleo sat down on the ground and looked out at all of the dead bodies standing like mannequins around them. He'll run out of blessed soldiers eventually. He looked over as Nolan sat down beside him and laid a large hand on one of Caleo's knees. Nolan was solid now, his naked skin blistered and torn in places, but each wound looked like it had been washed thoroughly and was already a light pink, like they were already healing. You can always sit the next battle out, Caleo suggested as he looked up at the sky, the sound of the helicopter growing closer. The corner of Nolan's lip curled up into a wicked-looking smile. And miss the opportunity to take on the helicopters? No way in hell. Nolan stood up and brushed dirt off of his bare legs. As in there is more than one? Caleo looked up, then quickly averted his eyes at Nolan's nakedness. He knew Nolan couldn't retain his clothes when he was in liquid form, but he just couldn't get over the man's casualness at being nude all the time. He swiftly looked back up, embarrassed and ashamed at becoming distracted, and saw 4 small black dots growing in the distant sky. How long do you think we have before they get here? Nolan reached down, offering Caleo a hand up. Another minute or 2, he said, then quickly amended. Maybe less.